You are listening to the Barbershop Sports Talk podcast on the SME Network and through SoundCloud.com. Don't forget, folks, check us out on our Facebook page as well as Instagram at Barbershop Sports Talk Podcast. Also, reach out through us on Twitter at Barbershop SPOR, the number 2. And if you want to hit us up for some questions or comments, hit us up through the email at barbershopsportstalk1@gmail.com. I'm Trey Fraser. That's Maestro Styles. What's good, man?
Good, man. Cooler, man. Never day, never dime. I've been listening to this, like I'm sure everybody else in the world has been absorbing this Kanye project. It is what it is. Really, I rocks with that joint, but I'm really rocking with this new Yo Gotti. You know what I'm saying? But I've just really been absorbing some music, you know what I'm saying, doing my thing. And outside of that, family good. My daughter, I promise, is going to play her first game on Saturday.
She gonna start this time?
I doubt she starts, but she'll be there. But she'll be there, and she'll get some playing time.
All right.
She'll get some time to run around, and I'll give y'all the update soon as next week. But what's good with you though?
Shout out to our good friend Sharif. He had a business presentation over the weekend, so me and Maestro, we attended that, and good looking out there. Man, I tell you what, you always learn something new in sports every day, man. So this past Sunday, I got up that morning and I turned on NFL Network, and I love the Football Life chronologically, or whatever those episodes of a Football Life. And it just so happened that Terrell Owens' episode was playing that morning. One of the things that I didn't know, which was explained in the episode, was going back to his San Francisco days. And I can't remember if it was a playoff game against the Cowboys or if it was a regular season game. Obviously, the infamous running to the middle of the field on the star and all that. What was explained was that before the game, the teammates on the 49ers were asking each other, what's the hole in the roof about at Dallas, the old Dallas Stadium? Yeah. What's the hole in the roof about? And somebody gave the answer, well, they built it that way because they're quote-unquote America's team, and that's just a symbolism of God looking down on the team. Yeah. So when T.O. scored that first touchdown in that game, obviously he ran to the middle of the field, and he kind of did the whole, I'm here, it's
like
me.
God shining his light on him.
God shining his light on him.
Yeah.
I've never heard that, because watching the game in real time at the time, you'd think, oh, this dude is trying to, showboat. He's trying to make a statement here.
I think he still was. I think he still was.
Right.
That don't change nothing about what I thought his intent was.
Right.
I don't think he honestly thought that in the middle of a game, in the middle of a touchdown celebration, let me go get some of that, heavenly light shined on me. Just you get it when you walk into this stadium.
Sure.
No, it was still definitely a shot at the Cowboys. It was done.
I don't see why,
shot.
But if everybody else on the team was putting that out there and saying,
so why don't the Cowboys do it?
Why don't the Cowboys I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I'm see Terrell Owens. I believe that he's very smart. He's very strategic. He did, in my opinion, he did that because he
the attention, and
it wasn't like he went in there and was like, "Ooh, I want God to shine His light on me today." That's not why he went to the star and did that.
Okay, I mean, make of it what you will. I'm just saying that those.
What
teammates,
do you think?
I think that he wanted the attention, obviously, and I also think that to his eyes, it was like, oh, well, let me just give thanks to God. Let me just stand in the middle of the field, look up in the open air stadium with the hole in it, and thank God, because, hey, this is supposed to be... I think that's part of it. I also think that T.O. wanted attention.
No, I don't think
that's a part of it.
I don't think he had a nostalgic moment where he wanted to God to shine his light on him.
But Maestro, part of it was attention getting.
I think
I don't disagree with that.
No, I think all of it was attention getting. Is what I'm saying. I think it was. I think they were aware of that, and it was kind of his way of mocking the Cowboys because that's what he was aware of what their tradition or mythology was as far as the
hole in the roof.
Right. I think he was making fun of that as more than. Oh, God, shine light on me. I think it was a shot at the Cowboys.
Well, I mean, Emmett took shot. I mean, he took offense to it.
Sure.
Emmett definitely took offense to it.
Which means it worked.
So, yeah, it worked. It got some people hot, and then T.O. did it a second time, and what's his name? Teague, I don't know if he was a cornerback. He popped him one really good there. So,
yes.
But needless to say, that was an interesting piece on Terrell Owens, and I know it was a repeat, I'm sure, but that was the first time.
I'll be honest, I don't watch a whole lot of TV, so I don't know if that was a repeat or not. But
yeah, I don't know either. I just happened to catch it that morning, and it was a nice piece on T.O.
Right.
So I know football season's over, but we still got football to talk about.
Man, I think we all really know that there's always going to be something to talk about. It's just a matter of how much credence we're going to give to it on a week-by-week basis.
Yep.
But there's always football to talk about. It's just
there is no football off season.
Football. The NFL is really good at having us. If you're really a football head, they're really good at giving us something to talk about.
Sure.
But just enough to have us saying, "Ooh, we can't wait to the football
year
season."
round.
Yeah. So, firstly, let's get these retirements out the way. Jared Allen retires after 12 years. His statement, paraphrasing, was, I wanted to ride out in Sunset, but now I'm just going to ride out. Obviously, Jared Allen's last year was with Carolina and them losing in the Super Bowl. 4th-round pick out of Idaho State by the Chiefs. 5-time Pro Bowler. 4 times All-Pro. 2 years he's been a sack leader. That was in Minnesota.
Yep.
Both years. Actually, I think his last year in Kansas City he led the league, and then a year in Minnesota he led the league in sacks. Career totals: 643 tackles, 136 sacks, 6 interceptions, 31 forced fumbles, and 4 safeties, which is the most in NFL history. He's tied with some other guy. I don't know who the other guy is, but
I wouldn't be surprised if he gets in the Hall of Fame on the first ballot. But what I will say for now is that I think he'll eventually get in the Hall of Fame at some point.
Yeah, he's a
Even
Hall
if
of
he's
Famer. He's not a first ballot though. And the reason why I say he's not a first ballot is because he got too much competition with him at that same time. You think Dwight Freeney, DeMarcus Ware, even though DeMarcus Ware is still playing, Robert Mathis, even though I think Jared Allen is better than Robert Mathis, Julius Peppers. You got so many.
There's a lot of competition.
A lot of good pass rushers that came around the same time he came around.
Sure.
I think for that alone, he's not going to be a first ballot. But I mean, you can't deny the stats. He's definitely a Hall of Famer. Which
is why I say if he somehow, some way, ended up on the first ballot Hall of Fame, it wouldn't surprise me because of the numbers. But I get where you're coming from.
The only way I see that he's going to be a first ballot is if some of those guys, because it's more pass rushers that aren't playing.
Now, is Dwight Freeney retiring? Or
that's what I was going to say.
Yep.
Because some of these players are still playing, he might get it. That kind of narrows the field.
Yep.
But just with those kind of pass rushes that he had to compete with on a year-by-year basis, he might get washed off by the wayside because off the list I heard, again, Julius Peppers, DeMarcus Ware, Dwight Freeney, Robert Mathis. He's only better than, really one of them that I kind of remember, and that's Robert Mathis.
Right.
So outside of that, that's where he stands as far as me. Man. Heath Miller retired, Steelers Nation.
What, really? It took that much of a sigh because of Heath Miller?
I'm hurt, man. And I know the time was coming. I know the time had to come.
Please.
But Heath Miller retired, Steelers Nation. Career.
You're not going to miss him.
No, I am going to miss him because he's a Steeler. Okay, he wasn't the super stat guy. I mean, even though he's the best tight end in Steeler,
He was one of those guys that
he's like
brought
one
his
of your
lunch pail
mans
to work
yeah.
every day.
And he was the perfect Pittsburgh Steeler. He was the guy that he goes to work and he goes home. You ain't get nothing out of him but production. You ain't hear nothing out in the news off the field, no bullshit like that. He was just that kind of guy. Mike Tomlin had amazing things to say about him, obviously, and Jason Witten reached out, and like a lot of people, because they know he was just that dude where he would go in, play, he produced. Career stats wise, he led Steelers among tight ends, 592 catches, over 6,500 yards, 45 touchdowns. He's also among tight ends in NFL history. He's number 6. He's only missed 8 games in his entire career. You know, him being a first rounder out of Virginia. Obviously, 2-time Super Bowl champion, 2-time Pro Bowler. Unfortunately, I don't believe he's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, but a Hall of Famer nonetheless. And
I don't know. Wait. What? No. Time out. Heath Miller definitely belongs in the Steelers Ring of Honor, if there's such thing as that. I'm not sure about the Hall of Fame, man.
6th all-time amongst tight ends in receptions. 2 Pro Bowls.
I doubt it, man. I doubt it. If he does, it's going to take some years to get in for him.
That's bullshit. It's not bullshit. It's not bullshit that it's going to take years. I don't think he's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. But you convinced...
It's going to take some time, man.
When you say some time, what you mean?
Like, he might be like Tim Brown. Like, Tim Brown had to wait, it felt like 12 years to get in the Hall of Fame.
I don't know how many years he had to wait, but he damn sure ain't going to have to wait no damn 12 years. That's some bullshit.
I think he's going to wait, man. I think he's going to wait.
Nah, dog.
I don't know. Man. Look, it ain't no Ravens bias here. Like I said, Steelers Ring of Honor, 100%, no doubt. Hall of Fame, it's a stretch, man. It's a stretch.
Nah, dog.
It's a stretch.
Nah, I don't want to hear that shit.
It's a stretch, man. If you're gonna tell me Palomalo, first ballot Hall of Famer, absolutely.
Well, I'm not arguing about first ballot Hall of Fame. I don't think he's going to be first ballot Hall of Famer. But
I'm telling you, I don't think he's going to Hall of Fame, period. And if he does, it's going to take some time to get in.
Based on what?
Heath Miller.
Based on what?
Heath Miller.
Based on what?
Heath Miller.
Based on what?
So you're telling me that of all the great tight ends in the game, Tony Gonzalez, Shannon Sharp.
Gonzalez is going to get in first ballot. Shannon Sharp is already in.
He's already in.
Okay.
So you mean to tell me that with those guys at the tight end position, and I know we're in a passing league now.
But you're talking about, hold on. The 2 people you just named is a first ballot Hall of Fame, and Tony Gonzalez and Shannon Sharp is already in. Who else? Whatever tight ends you talking about.
Whoever's 3rd, 4th, and 5th. I don't know who that is.
How many more people is better than Heath Miller? You talking about him, Antonio Gates.
Okay, I left Gates out.
Who else you talking about?
Gates is a first ballot Hall of Famer to me.
Who else is better than Heath Miller?
But what does
that? Top of your head.
But what does that prove that he's a Hall of Famer, though?
Well, you mentioned the likes of Tony Gonzalez.
I'm mentioning the
You're
likes.
You're saying it like he wasn't you're saying it like he wasn't the top 3 tight ends in the game when he played.
He was not mentioned when you talk about those guys. Heath
because
Miller
he wasn't
was
a pass catcher. You know what? Tell me he wasn't a top 3 tight end for the majority of his career.
That what?
He wasn't a top 3 tight end for the majority of his career. You're telling me he wasn't. Heath Miller,
a top 3
tight end for the majority of his career.
No, come on. A top
Tony Gonzalez.
A top 3 tight end.
All right, top 5. Because I just thought about Jason Witten. Top 5.
At blocking?
No.
Or doing everything?
Period. Tight end position.
Tight end, whether he's blocking
from 2004
90% of the time, or
from 2004 when he came in the league to now, you're telling me he wasn't a top 5 tight end?
If it's top 5, he's probably 5. I'd say he's 5.
Tony Gonzalez.
5 or 6.
Tony Gonzalez, Antonio Gates, Jason Witten. Who else?
Off the top of my head,
Jimmy Graham ain't been there long enough.
Nah, that's not even coming to my head right now.
Dallas Clark.
Okay, yeah, there you go. Dallas Clark.
Which I don't think is better than Heath Miller, but cool.
Why?
Because he don't block.
Okay, so Heath Miller might be a better blocker than Dallas Clark. Dallas Clark might be a better pass catcher than Heath Miller.
I don't think he's when the tight end position requires some blocking.
Sure,
Dallas Clark was more of a glorified slot receiver.
Who's more of a balanced tight end? Who was more balanced?
Heath Miller.
What?
Did Dallas Clark?
No,
Dallas Clark was a glorified slot receiver.
No, not between those two. I'm saying overall, as a tight end, who was more of a balanced tight end? I'm talking about all the guys.
Of them? Heath Miller was the most balanced. Only person that competes with him as far as being a balanced tight end is Jason Witten.
No.
Tony Gonzalez was a wide receiver. Was a wide receiver at tight end. Antonio Gates was a wide receiver at tight end. Dallas Clark, glorified slot receiver.
I'll give you Jason Witten as being a balanced tight end.
Jason Witten, that's the only person that competes with. And we talking about strictly how to play the tight end position. There's Jason Witten and there's Heath Miller. Everybody, I'm not saying that. Dallas Clark, Antonio Gates, and Tony Gonzalez didn't, revolutionize the position because they were way better pass catchers.
Sure.
But if you're talking about how the tight end position was played, there was Jason Witten and there was Heath Miller. And I'll give you Jason Witten probably better than Heath Miller because he just had, be honest, he had more opportunities.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, I agree with you there.
But to tell me Heath Miller ain't a top 5 tight end since he's been in the league?
If he's top 5, he's number 5. If he's top 5, he's number 5. I give you that. If he's top 5, he's number 5.
Steelers Nation.
6.
Steelers Nation. You could reach Trey Fraser on his Facebook.
Yeah, hit me up, yo.
Hit him up.
As a matter of fact,
let this bitch ass nigga know what's really going on. Because you're not about to sit here and disrespect Heath Miller like he wasn't a top 5 tight end and like he don't deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. And then he's not going to. I'll concede that he might not get in the first ballot. But to say he's not going to get in that second time around, that third time around, that's bullshit.
I think it's going to take more than 3 years for him to get in.
That's bullshit.
That's my opinion, bro.
Sure.
And to the fans out there, look, y'all can reach out to me, Trey Fraser. Y'all know where I'm at. As a matter of fact, we got some comments from the previous episode. We're gonna address those comments a little later in the show. Maestro.
We ain't about to dress bitch ass niggas.
No.
I mean, shout out to the people who show love. I know we knew we working on some things and cool, all that. Shouts out to y'all that supported and all that. But anything that had to do with hating, because I did see some, like, I ain't about to call names. We ain't about to do that. We gonna try to keep it.
Yeah, we ain't gotta call names. I mean, there's some comments. It was
a little hate, like, my nigga. How about you listen before you say what you got to say, my nigga.
Yeah,
like,
I know who you talking about too.
But it ain't no, whatever. We ain't about to get. That's not the war that I'm trying to fight. Like that.
I know who you talking about too.
Concerned with that. We going. You're never as good as they say you are. You're never as bad as they say you are. So that's cool.
Now that we offer retirement, people, let's get to some guys that's getting suspended. Where you want to start?
I mean, we got to get Joseph Randle, man. My dude, Joseph Randle was arrested on 3 counts of aggravated battery, drug possession, and criminal damage last Sunday. Apparently, he hit 3 people with a car and then tried to chase him into the house. Chase him into a house, I guess their house. Whatever, excuse me. This is the 3rd time he's been arrested since he's been released from the Cowboys in 2015. It seems like every time he's been arrested since then, he looks at the police officer and says, "Yep, this is the end of my career."
I was just about to say, if it's not the end of his NFL career weeks ago, it definitely is right now.
Joseph Randle got a problem, and I think that's as simple as you could put it. He has a mental issue. That don't make him less of a person, meaning like he ain't less of a person.
The guy just
got problems, but this nigga
a support group.
This nigga got a problem. Football should be the last thing on his mind. At some point, he got to serve. I would imagine he got to serve some jail time. This went from stealing drawers and cologne to hitting people with his car. Come on, let's get together.
Yeah, come on.
If it's one time for the justice system to get together, my nigga, this the time. Justice system, this is me. Hey, he got to do something. He got to do some jail time, some parole, some psychiatric shit, something. He got to do something. This is taking too long. He's been arrested a lot of times, at least 5 to my count.
Yeah, too many times, man.
Yeah.
I mean, he's way beyond Pac-Man Jones at this point.
Well, dude, I just need people to understand the fucking interval here. It went from stealing drawers and cologne to hitting a motherfucker with his car.
Yeah, that's serious, man. The guy needs some help. He needs a support system. Well, speaking of that, whoever his support system is right now ain't doing a really good job with this guy. Not to say that they're to blame for what's happened to him.
because he's a grown-ass man. I agree with you as far as they need a support system, and that's cool. But, again, the nigga went from stealing drawers and cologne to hitting a motherfucker with his car. I don't. Maybe this is not registering. I don't know if this is going to register.
And the reality is that that's not even rock bottom for some people. That's the reality.
I don't. Yeah.
For some people, that ain't rock bottom.
Some people just got to do some jail time. I mean, you put the jail system in place to give a motherfucker time to reflect on their life and possibly do better. If there has never been a case of a motherfucker that may need to reflect on his life and try to do better, this is the time. He went from stealing cologne and drawers to hitting a motherfucker with his car within 2 years. Let's I don't know what else there is to say about it. Just keeping with the Cowboys, Randy Gregory was suspended 4 games for violating substance abuse policies. Some people are saying it's weed. Some people saying it might not be weed. I think just given his history,
I was gonna say the reality is that this is the second time that he's been busted.
The reality is that it's weed. I don't know what else there is to say. The reality is that he's smoking weed and he got caught again, but he's been suspended 4 games. Stephen Jones' quote was, "This is a disappointment. We have been clear with Randy about what his responsibilities are and what is expected." What else do you say?
So is this strike 3 for Randy Gregory with the Cowboys? Even though this is the second time that this has happened?
No. For the Cowboys, no. The fuck? Nah, the Cowboys...
No, I agree with you. I think the Cowboys are
going to rock with him.
Yeah.
No, the Cowboys going to rock with him. They going, Dez Bryant had his issues in the past. Greg Hardy has his issues, even though it's looking like he's not going to be brought back to the Cowboys this year. Bamas have had their issues. Joseph, we just got finished talking about a motherfucker that went from stealing drawers and cologne to hit a motherfucker with their car. And it took them about 4 arrests for them to say, all right, we need to cut ties. So
sure.
So they gonna ride. I mean, and this speaks to their storied past. Michael Irvin had his issues, and you know what I'm saying. So I mean, Charles Stanley had his issues.
They bought Terrell Owens over.
This ain't nothing new for Dallas. Just for Randy Gregory, you gotta stop smoking weed, my nigga. I'm not gonna. Everything in my mind wants to do the Stephen A. thing. But I ain't gonna, I ain't no dick ride. I'm gonna just go ahead and rock with, hey man, you gotta stop smoking weed, man. You getting too much money, my nigga. Like,
yeah, and opportunities are there, man.
It's too much money for you to be getting busted. And see, here's the thing. I know we talked about this like episodes ago when Martavis Bryant was dealing with this whole weed issue. We know, like, they know when the NFL is testing them and when they not. There's no reason to be getting caught smoking weed.
No reason at all.
There's no reason to be getting caught smoking weed, because the idea is that just based on the stories that I've read in the past, during the season, you can get by the entire season smoking weed.
Sure you can.
So now, what's the reason for you to be getting caught smoking weed when for the majority of the year, football season, you can smoke it anyway? What reason do you have to get caught and get suspended for 4 games, and then, obviously after that is 10 games, and then after that is 4 seasons? What reason?
Millions of dollars at stake. To me, that's not worth, smoking weed all day.
Sure. And you're right. I agree with that. But if you got to smoke weed, and there's loopholes that allow you to possibly smoke weed, why not just get educated on what the loopholes are and then live within the loopholes?
Right.
Nobody's mad.
Yeah.
Nobody's mad. The NFL don't got a problem with Josh going smoking weed. He got a problem with him getting caught smoking weed.
Exactly. Anybody that's getting caught for that matter.
Yeah,
Ravens tight end Nick Boyle suspended for the first 10 games of the 2016 season. This is his second suspension for the same act. And yet again, another Ravens headline in the offseason where it looks bad. It just looks bad all around. I guess he's one of the few promising tight ends the Ravens have. You got Max Williams and you have Crockett Gilmore. At this point, man, I'm thinking Nick Boyle's probably gonna get cut at this point if they haven't thought about it already.
Well, this is John Harbaugh said that Ryan Mink of BaltimoreRavens.com. He still talked to John Harbaugh, and I'm going to paraphrase.
Right.
Basically, he was telling John Harbaugh. Basically, Boyle was telling Harbaugh that it was stupid, and that and then he was saying it was stupid, and John Harbaugh was saying that eventually Boyle will grow and learn from this. Boyle being the 5th rounder from Delaware. Problem is that Dennis Pitta might be coming back.
Man, if Dennis Pitta just need to just move on, man.
Well, the Ravens. It seemed like the Ravens are still holding on hope for Dennis Pitta. So then at this point, there'll be Dennis Pitta, Crockett Gilmore, and Max Williams already on the team. So,
I know they're still paying Pitta the money, but I mean, the last injury he had, I mean, it was non-contact. I mean, you talk about the hip. I mean, your hip is the most important, or probably one of the most important pieces of your body in terms of playing football.
Yeah.
You can't rely on Dennis Pitta at this point.
Well,
he sat out the entire season last year. He came in the beginning of the 2014 season, and he went out in that Cleveland game without any contact. And you're paying this guy, $6 million a year. I just think at this point it's just time to really just cut ties and let the guy move on with his life. I mean, one more blow and the guy could be on crutches or wheelchair for the rest of his life.
Yeah, I mean, I hear you. But it seems, I mean, just again, based on reports, seems like they're going to try to keep him. And if they keep him and he comes back, he makes it and he, recovers from this injury, now you got, him who's been proven to be successful, Crockett Gilmore, who's shown some leaps and bounds, and then the rookie Max Williams, who's also shown some leaps and bounds, kind of leaves not a lot of space for Nick Boyle.
Exactly.
To make the team when he comes back.
I would just say
so
good
he's
riddance.
looking like, yeah. So then if you do that, then you
I would say good riddance
to him. So would you say good riddance to him and Pitta? Because you just said get rid of Pitta.
I would say good riddance to both of them.
So you go in the draft.
Crockett Gilmore, Max Williams. Max Williams proves he can play. Yeah. And the draft is coming up, like you said.
Well, and then honestly, you got a lot of tight ends on free agency. This Ladarius Green, like a few guys that are on the Jared Cook.
Yeah, here's the key for the Ravens offseason. Restructure Joe Flacco's contract because that's the only way that they're going to be able to partake in free agency this year. Now, all rumors and all things being said is that that's going to happen. We've talked about it since the beginning of last season that this was going to happen. He's got a $28 million cap hit if, this contract continues to excel the way it is.
Yeah.
So I expect that they'll restructure the contract. They'll free up some cap space. They'll probably cut some players. They'll probably cut Chris Canty. They'll probably cut Ladarius Webb, but I'm not sure about that.
Word. Antonio Cromartie got cut by the Jets. Obviously a cap move. Jets saved $8 million in cap space by cutting him. But Cromartie immediately came back and was like, hey, y'all ain't have to cut me. I would have just took the pay cut. Last year, being his 10th season, 31 years old, he didn't have a pick last year. So, I mean...
Yeah, I think Jets fans expected that was going to happen, that they were going to cut him, and, no surprise there. There were some other talks about him maybe moving to safety.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he's comfortable playing that position or whether the Jets felt like that was a position that he could play.
Yeah.
But at this point, like you said, he didn't have an interception all season. Maybe it might just be time either make the move at safety or maybe just, call it a career.
Nah, he got too many kids, dog. He can't call it a career because at the end of the day, he still is a viable cornerback. I mean,
right?
I don't think just because he didn't get any interceptions. I mean, and I will say that I've seen a few games where he was kind of exposed, but I don't think that he's still better than some of these cornerbacks in the game. So I think he'll get picked up somewhere. He'll obviously take a pay cut. The Rams released Jared Cook, Chris Long, and James Laurinaitis to free up $50 million in cap space. What I'm hearing is that...
Ooh, that was $50 million?
$50 million. That's how much they freed up.
Wow, I thought it was about $24 million.
$50 million.
Okay, wow.
What I understand is that they did all of that in order to re-sign Janoris Jenkins and the other cornerback. Now, their plan is to give one cornerback a long-term deal, franchise the other cornerback, and then with the rest of the money, sign a quarterback. They're considering bringing back Sam Bradford.
What?
That's what I read.
Why? Why would you want Sam Bradford?
Well, one thing that's got to happen for sure is Nick Foles got to go. That's what's got to happen. Nick Foles got to go. And I think they don't want to start their venture into L.A. with the way that Nick Foles played. Now, I'm not saying that Sam Bradford is going to be much better. That's not what I'm saying. All I'm simply saying is that they got to do better than Nick Foles. But I did also read something today that Sam Bradford is looking forward to being re-signed with the Eagles also. So we'll see how that plays out.
Yeah. Getting to James Laurinaitis, he's 29 years old, and I think he's still a good linebacker in this league. I would expect somebody to scoop this guy up, come free agency next month. Jared Cook, I think, is a good tight end. Maybe
just didn't have a quarterback.
Just didn't have a quarterback. Maybe a team out there like the Ravens can scoop this guy up for some depth. Maybe. Mm-hmm. Who else? Chris Long. Yeah, Chris Long got to find another squad.
Oh, he's going to another team. He's going to a contender. Yeah, and if they're smart, he's going to a contender.
He's going to find another squad because that guy's got plenty of legs under him left.
And just so you know, one cornerback is looking to be franchised. Their plans is the franchise one sign the other one. The franchise tag for cornerbacks this year is going to be $13.7 million.
13.7.
Yeah.
I figured it'd be something around there.
Yeah.
Man, is anybody worth that in the league right now? At corner?
Well, they're saying they have confidence that this guy Johnson and or Jenkins. I mean, I know of Janoris Jenkins being a good cornerback. I hadn't really heard much about this Johnson kid, but apparently they got faith that these are two shutdown cornerbacks.
Wow. Somebody like a Josh Norman, I think, deserves that tag just to get a better deal later on.
Yeah, I think Josh. They're going to get him. I think they're going to get. I know there haven't been talks about it yet. I think they're going to get him out the way, though.
Yeah, they should. They definitely should do that.
Speaking of getting people out the way, Malcolm Jenkins, safety for the Eagles, just signed a 4-year, $35 million extension. He's going to get $21 million guaranteed and a $7.5 million signing bonus. Last year he had 109 tackles, 10 pass defenses, 2 picks, 3 forced fumbles, and was an All-Pro last year. So they definitely looking to kind of solidify the secondary the best way they can.
Yeah, good for the Eagles.
Yeah, I mean, definitely balled last year.
That's a good signing. See, what's going to happen, Maestro, is now that Chip Kelly's out of town, Doug Peterson's in the fold, now that defense doesn't have to worry about being gassed so much because the offense was running plays every 2-3 seconds. Now that defense can get an opportunity to relax themselves during the game and come in 3 and out, and then they can put their offense back on the field. So
right.
Marcus Colston got cut too.
Oh yeah.
From the Saints.
Mm-hmm.
You sound like the guy's done.
I mean, hey, I feel like he's been washed for the past 3 years. He is the Saints all-time receptions leader, I think, in yards as well, and I believe he might be in touchdowns as well.
Right.
He's definitely been the guy, the best receiver that the Saints has ever had, but
it was
undefeated.
Time to part ways.
Father Time is undefeated. He's old. He's washed. I think he'll still get a job somewhere based on who he was.
He'll get a job as the number 3 receiver someplace.
Yeah, it'll be based on who he was.
Sure. And let's not forget, he came in the same year as Drew Brees came in
and Sean Payton did. So that's a lot of history. That's about, 9-10 years of,
of that explosive passing offense. Yep. And when you really think about it, there hasn't really been before him, there hasn't really been a, infamous, popular Saints receiver. So I can't imagine.
Joe Horn, maybe? Who? Joe Horn, maybe?
Nah.
Joe Horn was popular.
Yeah, but I don't think he was there long enough. I think if I had to take a guess of who the best Saints receiver was before
Marcus Colston,
I would say it was probably like Nick Toon.
Nick Toon was pretty good.
If I had to take a guess,
he was pretty good.
That's not based on no type of nothing. Just
right. No, he was pretty good. Yeah. But Joe Horn had a few good years in New Orleans.
Yeah, no.
Prior to
Katrina. They have had a history of not having great receivers.
Sure.
So because even
they've had a history of not having great anything.
Yeah. So to have to speak, because even with running backs before Deuce McAllister, there was like Dalton Hilliard. So it's like it's not like they've ever had
they've had a history of nothing.
Yeah, so
we
talking about Joe Horn and Nick Toon, for God's sake.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And what was the black quarterback's name? Man, he played for the Raiders.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Aaron Brooks.
There you go.
Aaron Brooks. Yeah.
Man, good times. Good times.
Hey, let's get into some basketball real quick.
Cool.
And let's talk about this Damian Lillard story where he calls out ESPN's Carry Champion. And
shouts out, before we go in there, shout out to Damian Lillard, who dropped 51 on Golden State last week.
Absolutely.
Beat the Warriors handily, actually. The Bama made like 9 threes. I don't think if I'm not mistaken, he didn't miss a three.
Really?
If I'm not mistaken. But he had 51 points. He didn't have a turnover in the entire game. And then I think they beat the Warriors by like 20.
Yeah, they really, they put it to him.
Yeah.
He put it to him.
He put it to him. Exactly.
He put it to him.
Exactly.
But hey, before we get to the story, we talking about Damian Lillard here. I'm going to make a case for Damian Lillard right now. And no SportsCenter, no Fox Sports, none of these people have mentioned this, but you got to start to put Damian Lillard in the MVP conversation right now. He's averaging 25 points a game. He's averaging 7 assists per game. He's averaging 4 rebounds a game. And anybody out there that thought the Portland Trail Blazers was going to be in a playoff chase this season with all the changes they made, raise your hand. I see no hands being raised. Right. Nobody thought this team was going to be they're the number 7 seed right now in the West. They're a little over 500 right now. And he's playing some of the best basketball, given 80% of his starting lineup went elsewhere in the offseason.
Nah, he definitely balling. I don't know about the MVP talk, but he definitely balling.
Yeah, let me make this clear. Damian Lillard is not sniffing the MVP award.
Yeah.
However, I think his name needs to be mentioned in the circulation of maybe the top 6, top 7 names in the MVP race.
We going 6, 7 names deep for the MVP race?
If we go 6 or 7 names, Damian Lillard's got to be in that top 7.
So he can't be in the MVP race because we can't go 6, 7 names deep in the MVP race.
Why not?
Steph Curry, who's the runaway?
Okay, Steph, LeBron, Kawhi Leonard.
LeBron?
Huh?
LeBron's having an MVP year?
Of course.
Of course?
LeBron is having an MVP year? Was that your question?
You feel like he's having an MVP year? Or you feel like you would just give it to him because he's LeBron James and Steph Curry wasn't there?
I would say people will put his name in there because he's LeBron.
All right, I don't think he's having an MVP year at all. But that's fair. Fair.
I think that's LeBron fair. Deserves to be in there.
Russell Westbrook.
No doubt. What I say, Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard deserves to be in the MVP race. I thought Paul George earlier in the season, but his numbers just kind of tailed off a little bit.
Kawhi Leonard?
I think Kawhi Leonard should be in the MVP race right now.
Why?
You see what is... we've talked about the Golden State Warriors seem like all season, but the Spurs are right there behind them.
Three games. I get that, but I'm talking about Kawhi Leonard, though. Kawhi Leonard...
Who else on that team besides maybe, just maybe, LaMarcus Aldridge is giving them everything.
You don't think Tim Duncan giving them nothing defensively? Tim
Duncan definitely is that rim protector. No doubt about it.
I give you that.
But also Tim Duncan has been resting and taking some easy minutes game by game. Also, same with Tony Parker. Same with Manu Ginobili.
I don't even want to talk about Manu Ginobili nor Tony Parker because they're only there because Greg Popovich is there.
That's fine.
Be clear.
No, that's fine. But it goes to my point. That with the record the Spurs have at, I don't know, what are they 40 games in the win column and about 10 losses right now?
I mean, I think what you're doing is, and I disagree with it if it's what you're doing. I think what you're doing is because they're the second best team in the league, the best player on that team has to be considered for MVP.
Well, I think Kawhi Leonard's putting the numbers up. He's averaging about little over 20-something points a game. I mean, when you watch Spurs games...
20 points a game...
I'm sorry?
Is 20 points a game a great...
That's why I said he's averaging over. I don't know what the exact number is. But when you watch Spurs games, that's the guy that more times than not is getting it done for the Spurs, other than LaMarcus Aldridge, who's still trying to kind of fit his way into the Spurs system.
Nah, I don't think Kawhi Leonard making enough waves to be considered for MVP.
No, that's fine, but he needs to be talked about. He needs
in the MVP race. Nah, but so now you're 4 deep. You can't. So
who else is there? Who
else is really?
Go in the East. Let's stick to the Eastern Conference. Who would you put in the MVP race right now, other than LeBron in the Eastern Conference? You want to give me somebody on Toronto?
Not a damn so.
You want to give me somebody on Boston?
But that's what I'm saying.
Right, like, but that's proving my point is that
you
Damian
said
Lillard,
6-7 deep. We at 4 right now.
Right, and I'm saying, but you were saying that Damian Lillard doesn't deserve to be mentioned in the 7. Why?
Because
who else in the Western Conference can you name besides the names we just racked off?
Draymond Green is playing better than Damian Lillard.
Okay, that's what, 5.
But my point is that 5 is too much. We're talking about Draymond Green in MVP conversation?
But why is retarded. Why is that too much, though?
That's too much.
Why?
That's too much.
Why?
Because all of them ain't balling to the level of MVP.
But that's the purpose of being mentioned in the MVP category.
So we supposed to mention motherfuckers that's not balling at MVP level.
That's not?
That's not. Damian Lillard is playing good ball. He's not balling at MVP level.
Well, given where his team is at and given the expectations that experts had on this team.
The reason why when Russell Westbrook last year was being considered at one point for being the MVP.
Sure.
And they was the 8th seed. It was because he was averaging a triple-double.
He was averaging triple-doubles, no doubt about it.
The only thing that we're talking about that's making headlines for Damian Lillard is this one game where he beat the Warriors.
Well, no, I'm not. I'm referring to more than just the one game. I'm referring to where his team is positioned in the Western Conference that many people did not have making the playoffs this year because he had his other starting 4 guys go to other teams in the offseason.
Do you understand the concept that Kawhi Leonard being an MVP is a reach?
How is that a reach?
You're saying, and this is just my opinion, you're saying that he should be considered for MVP.
No. I said he should be in the MVP race. His name should be circulated around the MVP talk in the race. So there's a race, and then there's a guy that is clearly.
Would you agree? Would you agree that? And I'm just playing devil's advocate, right? No, would you agree that Kawhi Leonard is steps beyond Damian Lillard right now?
It's steps beyond, meaning that he's better than Damian Lillard.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say that he steps better than Damian Lillard, but if I had to pick 2 of those guys, I would pick Kawhi Leonard because Kawhi Leonard can defend also next to his offensive game. So I think he plays on both sides of the ball better than Damian Lillard does. So I would give Kawhi.
Well, I would say that Damian Lillard is a better offensive player than Kawhi Leonard.
Sure, but Kawhi Leonard can play both sides of the ball.
Kawhi Leonard is longer, and he's a star of a team that's winning more games than the Portland Trail Blazers. That's the only reason. That's the only reason I've included him in this 3-horse race that I'm considering. That should be the only people that's considered for MVP. My 3 race. If you had to make a race, Steph Curry, who's, we already know.
Sure.
LeBron, because he's LeBron, and Russell Westbrook.
Okay.
Who else are we talking about?
Did we forget Durant's name? Did we forget Durant's name?
Nigga ain't got no heart, B.
Good segue.
But yeah, and we'll segue from there because we could do that conversation for a long time. So on ESPN Sports Center, Curry Champion and some other cat. I'm not going to disrespect him. I don't know his name, but
David Lloyd.
Okay, well, good job, Trey. He didn't make the headlines in my book because he didn't say no outlandish shit. So they came up with their top 5 players that they would build a team around. With none of those cats mentioned Kevin Durant. Chris Broussard jumped in and was like, "Are y'all crazy?" David Lloyd said basically he's had injuries, whatever.
Yeah,
Chris Broussard went with that.
Yeah, he brought up the foot injury that Kevin Durant had.
Cool. And then Curry Champion was like, he ain't got no heart. And I'm paraphrasing, but the way I took it and from the way I heard it when we just listened to it before we went on air, she said that nigga ain't got no heart. And I love Kevin Durant. Let me preface my comments.
And you hope, as a Wizards fan,
well, I already gave up on that.
Okay, we'll get to that in a little bit.
But when I look at Kevin Durant's career, amazing ball player, amazing. But would some say, if it wasn't for the investment that this, Kevin Durant being, and when he was in Seattle, he's been their franchise player since he's been there. But let's say, theoretically, if they came into the league in the same year, Westbrook and Durant,
right?
Who do you think would be further along in their career right now based on their gameplay, Kevin Durant or Russell Westbrook?
Oh, I would say Russell Westbrook.
My point exactly. Does it seem like, when you think of a franchise player, a star player, you think about who takes over in the fourth quarter.
Sure.
Who takes over when the team is flat and, who
gives the team energy? Who gives the building energy?
Yeah.
Who's that rough rider?
In Golden State, there's Steph Curry, obviously. When you need something, that's who you go to.
Yep.
When you think about the Bulls back in the day, it was Jordan. When you think about the Lakers, it was Kobe. When you think about the Heat before LeBron got there, it was Dwayne Wade.
Yep.
And when it became LeBron James. I mean, in the Cleveland now is LeBron James. In the Knicks is Carmelo Anthony. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's your franchise player.
Shout out to Chris Paul, too. He's one of those guys, too.
That's the guy you go to.
Yep.
With Wild, I believe Kevin Durant is a much better offensive player. I mean, much better offensive player than Russell Westbrook. The fact is that Russell Westbrook wants it more than Kevin Durant, seemingly on the court.
Sure.
And it shows. It's been
body language, over.
What he's doing as opposed to what Durant isn't doing. I remember, I want to say it was game 4. Did he beat them 4-1 in that finals, right?
Yeah, the Thunder won the first game at home, and then
it was either game 4 or game 5,
okay.
And the Thunder was, they was getting lashed, and I remember looking at the game thinking, like, man, Kevin Durant got to do something. And
sure.
Who was it that stepped up and he ended up with like 45 points in the game? None other than Russell Westbrook.
Right,
Russell Westbrook was just he decided, look, we not about to go out like this. And they still lost. But, he went in.
Yep.
Like, it's too many examples.
Yeah, Russell Westbrook plays angry.
And it's too many. And I get it. Kevin Durant ain't angry. But damn it, maybe you need to get angry. And I'm not gonna say you ain't got heart. I don't think that's the case. I just think that Kevin Durant is lackadaisical, and Russell Westbrook ain't lackadaisical.
I think Kevin Durant, with his body language, needs to show more on the court that, hey, look, I'm the guy, and if we're down in the situation, y'all niggas need to give me the ball.
Yeah, because let's keep it a buck. If he had all the anger on the court that he had for media,
yep,
shit, we might be talking about he the best ball player in the league.
Oh, absolutely.
And he's definitely, I gotta say he's my number 2 because he used to be my favorite, but when Steph Curry came along, I had to swap. Right. So he's my number 2. But you know what I'm saying? You gotta. I'm not gonna say he don't get hard, but damn if Curry champion ain't on to something. Right? I mean, something.
Yeah. I think she's on to something. And let me just give you just a little bit of Curry Champion's background as a sports fan. She loves the Los Angeles Lakers. She's wears it on her sleeve.
And she's sexy.
She talks about it even when she was on First Take and all that stuff. So she's Laker, she's Laker crazy. She's had Dwight Howard on that team. What was it, a year? Dwight was when he got traded there. He was there for a year. Ease when a player doesn't have the quote unquote the heart, because now we're talking about the whole Dwight Howard syndrome, if you will.
Right.
Is this a situation where maybe not just us, but maybe media in general is labeling Kevin Durant as the guy that isn't hurt enough or doesn't get mad enough when he fails? Is it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to. He been in the league for a minute. Yeah, I'd say he's been in the league for a minute.
He's been in the league for a minute.
2007. Okay.
2007.
He's been in the league for a minute.
Yeah. It's time.
I feel like we know. I feel like it has to come to a point where we know who he is at this point.
Sure. He's what is he, 6'8"?
6'10".
6'10".
Pulls up from wherever he want to.
Is what, 7 feet?
Yeah, he pulls up from wherever he want to pull up from. Like, come on, my dude. Like, I picked the Thunder to win that finals, man.
I remember that. I think everybody was hoping, because everybody hated the Heat.
I didn't necessarily hate the Heat. I was just more so expecting Kevin Durant
to show out. Like, this is
DMV native.
Yep.
I mean, it might be me being a little fan of a little bit.
But you know what it also was? For me, it was them beating the Spurs in the conference final. Yeah, the way they did it. Because the Spurs, if you remember that year, they had racked off like 22 straight games going into the postseason.
But I'm going to tell you what's really good about that, too. I don't feel like they beat the Spurs so handily because of Kevin Durant looking back at it. I look at Russell Westbrook having to deal with Tony Parker, and Tony Parker, more importantly, having to deal with Russell Westbrook.
And I also looked at James Harden closing the game 5 out.
Right. I don't really, not to say that, Kevin Durant is going to get his points. He's going to be Kevin Durant. He's going to score. He's probably number 2 when it comes to having to score.
Right.
So he can get his points, and you can never take that away from him. He know how to get buckets,
no doubt.
But when it's crunch time, I don't see enough of him when it's crunch time.
Yeah, I don't want to go into the arena of just giving him the Dwight Howard syndrome just yet.
Nah, I won't give him Dwight Howard syndrome, because at the end of the day, one thing that's going to be for sure is he going to get you buckets, and he going to get you buckets well into his career. Dwight Howard's defense is dwindling because of his injuries, or maybe
the back injury,
or maybe him just not wanting to play. So outside of a major injury like that for Kevin Durant, I don't feel like Kevin Durant's point production is going to go down too far until the end of his career, obviously.
Right.
So I don't want to put him in that thing. But to continue the story, Damian Lillard put a tweet out there that said, I think did you have the tweet exactly?
Yeah, I had the tweet up, and I hate these phones, man. There's always, you're always doing one thing and you're trying to maneuver over to the next. But basically he was just saying, like, this woman on ESPN said something about KD and she doesn't know sports, something similar to that.
But Twitter took exception to him saying this woman, and then he put out another tweet saying, it's not about the gender, it's more about the comment. Nothing real big. I feel like Damian Lillard, was, I guess, I don't know, he was putting on for a friend. I don't really know what, why he felt the need to respond. I guess maybe he felt like Kevin Durant half hard. I don't know.
Maybe. Maybe
Sure.
Boy. I don't know.
It's probably his boy. I don't know.
Maybe that's his boy.
But I thought that was a little extra. I am interested to see if Curry Champion is going to respond, though. That's.
I think she's too classy for that, but it wouldn't surprise me.
Nah,
it wouldn't surprise me.
And I don't want to say if she responds, she's not classy.
She's from L.A.
I think she might respond.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. Hey, we just want to give a good shout out to Anthony Davis, power forward for the New Orleans Pelicans. He had a monster game a couple nights ago against the Detroit Pistons. 59 points, 20 rebounds. He joined some pretty good elite company here. So there's 4 active players in the league right now with 59 points or more in a game. You got Anthony Davis, who just did it a couple nights ago. LeBron James did it a couple years ago. Carmelo Anthony did it a couple years ago also. Yeah. And Kobe did it 5 times in his career. Right. One of 3 players to have 55 points and 20 rebounds. Himself, Shaq, and Will Chamberlain. That's some pretty good elite company right there.
Right. And obviously this is the league, well, not obviously, but this is the league high this year in scoring. He just, beat Boogie Cousins by 3 points. Boogie Cousins had 56 earlier this year.
Right.
The second youngest player to do this, only person who's done it at a younger age is Bob McAdoo. I think it's important to point out the efficiency.
Yep.
2 out of 2 3-pointers, 9 out of 10 free throws. I believe he did this in like 24 shots, I want to say.
Right.
He outscored his team by 7. And he also had 4 assists in his game. So,
Crazy.
Imagine that he scored 59 points and still had some room to drop some dimes.
No doubt.
It's kind of amazing. I know we talked about this. I know we talk about this off the air, but definitely one of the best big men. But his game is so because I don't even want to call him a big man no more. It doesn't even feel right to call him a big man because he could break you down off the dribble. I mean, you can't say he's not a big man because he averaging like 2.2 blocks a game.
Yes, he is.
So it's not like he's not protecting the rim.
He's a complete player. I think he has the potential. If you've
ever seen a complete player ever in life, I think this might be the guy, man, because he's got the height, but he does it all.
He might be the best player in the league in a few years.
And we said that a few years ago.
I know, but his team where they're at right now is not very good, but I expect that to be a little better moving forward, for years to come. Mm-hmm. He might just very well be the best player in the league. He can kill you from outside with the 3-point shooting. By the way, he can hit his free throws.
Right.
What is he? Close to 89% free throw shooting? So you can't kill a brother for that, man. He's got an all-around game. Hey, I wanted to give you an opportunity to wax poetic about your Wizards because they made a trade that you and I kind of discussed over the weekend, and we both kind of were on the same page in terms of what the compensation that was given up by the Wizards was for. So I'm gonna let you,
Well, I guess Ernie Grunfeld, you've had your time, my brother. You've had your time, man. I think it's time to. I think it's time to change some things up, man. Because I'm okay with Markieff Morris coming to the Wizards for DeJuan Blair and Chris Humphries. I'm okay with that. But the reason that you gave them a first-round pick is freaking beyond me. Markieff Morris has the capability of being a very good ball player, but he got to want to play. It doesn't seem like he's been real motivated to play his last few years in Phoenix. I just can't imagine what warranted a first-round pick. I don't really want to dwell on this because my feelings are hurt.
You're turning red over there, like it's
my feelings
making
are hurt.
You upset.
My back hurts. It has nothing to do with that. But I'm stressed out because I'm not stressed out. I'm just irritated. I just can't imagine what warranted a first round pick. Also, as I said earlier in the episode, the whole KD thing for me, and we talked about this. For me, it seems like you got who you want to play, and even though he's traditionally a power forward, Markieff Morris, I feel like y'all kind of just making a decision that we're not going to go for Kevin Durant.
Now, this is where I disagree with
and
you.
Also including that Kevin Durant has no intentions, or at least so far he says that he doesn't want to be with them.
Yeah, this is where I disagree with you in terms of the compensation. The first round pick, Phoenix robbed them, basically. I mean, robbed them blind, because they should have just gave up Humphreys and Dwan Blair in that trade. But here's where I think we both differ. I don't think getting Markieff Morris signifies that Kevin Durant's not coming here, or that the Wizards had given up hope that he's not coming here. To me, it could potentially say that, hey, you know what? We might not need this first round pick because we got so much confidence that when the offseason comes, we got Kevin Durant right in our hands. We don't need that first round pick. In addition to that, I don't know what the Markieff Morris contract situation is. I don't know if he's a free agent at the end of the year.
Nah, I don't know either.
I don't know. So, make of that what you will. But I could see a situation where the Wizards are possibly thinking, hey, we got so much confidence, we could just give the first round pick up. Now, do I believe that? No, I don't believe that. But it wouldn't surprise me if Ernie Grunfeld thought of that, in the process.
Get Ernie Grunfeld the fuck out of here. While we dealing with trade deadlines, because let's just go ahead and get to the other major trades.
Were they major, though?
No, they weren't. Just the biggest ones that we had to announce. So basically, the Cavs get Channing Frye. They send Virgil to the Portland Trail Blazers. They cut Virgil within 5 minutes of him being there.
And he'll probably go back to Cleveland.
No. He went to Golden State.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, he went to Golden State.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. He's smart. He's trying to get that ring.
Yeah, he's trying to get a ring.
He's smart.
And apparently there was a market for Virgil. Like the Spurs looked at him. Mm-hmm. There was a market to get him once he was released by the Trailblazers. So they ended up the Warriors ended up picking him up. He'll run the floor. Whether they're not looking for him for points. They're looking for him for hustle minutes and things of that nature, and he'll probably get a ring off of just some hustle defense, just little shit like that. Right. And talked about Markieff Morris, Josh Smith went back to the Rockets. Jeff Green to the Clippers, and is that right? Lance Stevenson went to the Grizzlies?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, he did.
He
was in that Jeff Green trade.
Right. So that was the other big trade. Nothing else really worth.
The only impact out of all those trades that I could see making a big leap, I think the Clippers have found a guy that can take Blake Griffin's scoring place, if you will.
Nah.
Not necessarily be Blake Griffin, but a guy that can, I don't know, is Jeff Green starting or is he coming off the bench?
Not knowing, I'm pretty sure he's coming off the bench.
Okay.
At least to start.
Okay, well, if he's coming off the bench, then that's a guy that can give you some instant offense, similar to a Jamal Crawford, potentially.
Oh,
so.
No.
Why? Why?
Jeff Green is a spotty scorer. He's not that good. He's not.
Jamal Crawford, I would say, is kind of spotty too.
I disagree. Jamal Crawford is
he's very spotty. He can have some off nights.
Sure, everybody has off nights, but if you're talking about scoring, if you're talking about a scorer, Jamal Crawford is a scorer. Jeff Green is better on defense than he is in offense.
Sure.
So no, I wouldn't call him. And
they need defense for sure.
And that's what I was going to say. I think the Cavs getting Channing Frye that's not going to be nothing that's going to change the dynamic of the team.
Right.
They wanted shooting, and that's what he's going to do. He's going to be able to shoot that three ball. I don't think you're going to get much else out of him. So I guess if somebody had to win, I'd say the Cavs, because that's what they wanted. They wanted to get a shooter. They got a shooter.
Right.
But that's all I leave it.
Can Channing Frye defend?
He's been known. The dude is 6'10".
You would think, right?
Yeah, you would think he can do something. I don't think you put him on, the top scorers in the league. I don't think you put him on Kevin Durant in this situation.
Okay.
But I'll take that back. You would put him on Kevin Durant in this situation, but you wouldn't put him there thinking he's going to shut Kevin Durant down.
Because I'm still trying to figure out the Cavs team in a sense that Kevin Love's still there, and while he gives you the scoring, he's terrible on defense.
Well, they play power forward, so that they both play power forward, so that That also helps as well. Rick Pitino, Louisville banned them from the postseason. They banned themselves. It was a self-imposed ban. As the NCAA is investigating claims made by Katina Powell that she and other escorts were paid money and given game tickets by a basketball staffer named Andre McGee in exchange for having sex and dancing for Louisville players and recruits from 2010 to 2014. I think what kind of sucks about this is a few things. The Cardinals are 21-6 right now, second in the ACC. They're ranked number 11 in the AP poll. And then Damian Lee and Trey Lewis, they came back this year for the hopes of playing in the tournament. And now here we are, Louisville banning themselves from the postseason.
Yeah, that sucks for the Cardinals there. And it sounds like Rick Pitino is trying to keep his mouth shut. And I think media, fans, I think people who are investigating the situation closer than what we are want this guy to just come out and just say, hey, look, you were aware of this. You knew what was going on here. Why are you covering up here? And I think at the end of the day, this is going to result in Rick Pitino either stepping down from coaching this team, or the university is just going to have to take a stand and say, you know what, we're not going to put up with this. Rick Pitino, thank you for the championship in 2013. Thank you for the coaching. Thank you for all that. We got to let you go, bruh.
Rick Pitino put out a statement yesterday basically saying that he could see himself coaching for the next 15 years for Louisville. And, I mean, at the end of the day, I don't think that they're good. I think he's going to catch hell for this, strictly because it happened on his watch.
Sure. Yep.
That's it and that's all. Yep. It's not because they think he did anything he wasn't supposed to do or nothing of that matter, but he's going to catch some hell for it. I don't think it's going to cost him his job. I think he's too strong he means too much to Louisville. He's done too much for him in the past, especially if don't know nothing real come out of the investigation. I think he'll be good. Finally, if you ain't heard right now, the dynamic of newscasting has been revolutionized by none other than Shaun King and Jason Whitlock.
Now, Jason Whitlock, formerly of ESPN, he's now with Fox Sports. He was on The Herd. I guess it's Colin Cowherd's show, but he might have been filling in for him.
Yeah, so he was filling in.
He decided he was going to have Shaun King on the show and explain the entire Peyton Manning article, explaining why Shaun King had to inject himself into.
Well, let me cut you off because I feel like we need to give it some backstory.
Go ahead.
Shaun King did an article on some New York newspaper, and I feel like we reported that last week. So Shaun King, not Shaun King, Jason Whitlock saw this story, didn't like how Whitlock felt like Shaun King was presenting this story and this document, this court order, as fact, as opposed to just the witness being Norwright's, Dr. Jamie Norwright's case and account of what she felt like happened. She got, other players and things to state cases for, things like that. But the way I understand it is that court document was written specifically for Norwright. It's supposed to be all the things that support her case.
Right.
And there hasn't been a court document that I know of or that we know of to support Peyton Manning's case. At least that's been released where somebody to read it and write a story about it. So Jason Whitlock took exception to that, saying, this isn't the truth. Like, you're presenting this to be a real story. And he wrote a column in some small newspaper. I don't know where he writes his columns.
He being Jason Whitlock?
Jason Whitlock wrote, and he was basically going in on Shaun King, like, yo, this Bama this is not journalism, essentially.
Right.
Shaun King took wind of that and went to Twitter start going in on Jason Whitlock. Jason Whitlock, they
had their back and forth.
Their little Twitter feud. After the Twitter feud ended, I guess somebody had the bright idea of saying, let's hash this out on air.
Right.
Let's have an opportunity.
Sure.
I got my questions. You got your. Let's find out what this story was about. This is what Jason Whitlock claims his approach was. So they get on the radio and he goes in. Jason Whitlock asked Shaun King off rip, why are you including yourself in this story? Which I didn't really feel like was the first question to ask. It's you could tell there was beef.
There was tension.
Yeah.
While he was on that microphone.
I'd invite anybody to, check that out on YouTube. That's where I saw it on YouTube. I just typed in Jason Whitlock versus Shaun King and it popped up. So if you want to hear this audio, feel free to go on YouTube and check that audio out. So basically, it's, you could tell that it was still brewing from the whole Twitter thing. Because the Twitter thing, they went in. They was... you ain't no real journalist. You ain't black. It was real.
Oh, Shaun King was cussing Jason Whitlock out on Twitter. I mean, it was crazy.
They went in. So then they get on the Colin Cowherd show, The Herd, and he's feeling Whitlock is filling in for whatever reason. Off rip, he asked him about why he included his name in the story. Now, I feel like the first question should have been, what approach were you trying to take with the story? Because it seems like you were presenting this story as sheer fact without taking into account the other side of the story.
Sure.
That's what I felt like the approach should have been.
Right.
But it felt like they took an immediate, personal attack. He took an immediate personal attack on Shaun King.
It was like they were continuing the Twitter beef on air.
And it's funny because Whitlock was like, "Nah, we don't want to do that. If you want to insult me, we could do that on Twitter." But it seemed like the question was like it was insulting.
Right.
He was trying to insult him without seeming like he was trying to insult him.
Sure.
So off rip, Shaun King went in. Like, I don't feel like I should even be having this conversation with you because you had this intern or assistant that you hired and you was abusing her and she wrote a 25-page letter about how you was treating her wrong and abusing her, this, that, and the third. And long story short, they went into this big old Twitter beef via radio about...
Now here's where it kind of got crazy for me. Jason Whitlock hung up on Shaun King the first time when Shaun King was trying to get at him, and Jason Whitlock was like, "Look, we're not about to talk about that. I'm asking you a question about this story. I want to get your story." So, like you said, Maestro, he hung up on him 3 times because Shaun King is trying to get his point across.
Yeah.
Here's my message, and look, I haven't been doing this for long. Me and Maestro, we've been doing this for feels like 22, 23 weeks now, basically since the start of the football season. Look, I know radio shows in New York City, particularly on The Fan, where they ain't gonna hang up on you. Look, you want to hash your beef out on air? Hash your beef out on air. I don't like what Jason Whitlock did in terms of hanging up on Shaun King. Now, is Shaun King a little, off on his approach to the interview? I would agree with that. But let that thing hash out. Now, obviously, like you said, they took the Twitter beef and they put it on air. That's basically what the aura... That's what
they did.
Yeah, that's what they did. I mean, you could feel it in Jason Whitlock's, not his voice, but you could tell.
You could feel it in both of their voice. I'm certainly not about to sit here, and I agree with you on both terms. He should have let him talk, and maybe he shouldn't have been attacking him. But it felt like Jason Whitlock attacked him first. So he came. But I'll be honest with you, if Jason Whitlock didn't attack him first, I feel like Shaun King would have attacked him first.
Oh, absolutely.
I feel like this was...
Either way, it was going to go down to this point.
So long story short, they argued about, about how soon that the court document was out and all that and all this. I don't really care about what happened. This is what I want to talk about.
I don't care either.
Is this WWE or what? I feel like this is like rap beef in the news, and I'm not going to lie to you, I was kind of entertained.
Look, this feels like sports reporting, journalism. It feels like
the beef. I mean, whether it's on Twitter, Facebook, whatever social media outlet you want to throw out there, it seems like this entire thing, if not, has revolutionized.
No, I'm not going to say
sports reporting beef, if you will. It's kind of like it used back in the day. A reporter would come to work, do his column, write his story, whatever, and then go home. Nowadays, with television, with networks, and
social media,
with all this stuff going on, journalists, sports reporters, everybody wants to be on TV now.
No, I love it. I ain't gonna lie to you, I love it. And
no, it's good.
I love it. It's wrestling, and I.
It's good. It's fine by me.
I think this is going to be a dynamic where I think it's going to be an important dynamic, and I don't know where this is going to go from here. I wouldn't be surprised if newscasters or journalists or journalists to sportscasters. I think there's a market for this, and I think people see that people are going to take advantage of this. And the reason why I wanted to make this a topic is because I wanted to make sure that Barbershop Sports Talk Podcast said it first. This is about to be a dynamic. This is about to be happening.
Yes.
This is about to be Al Roker beefing with Tony Perkins, the two weather, back when they was weather guys.
Yep.
But this is about to be WWE via journalism.
Journalism is journalism beef. I mean, it's about to be like Stephen A. with Kevin Durant, even though Kevin Durant's a player.
Right.
But it's about to be along those
lines. And I guess this stuff has always happened. But this Twitter rant or this Twitter beef that happened really, like, because Shaun King is who he is and who he's been to, Black Lives Matter and his views on
kind of
politics.
A civil rights leader type, a little bit. That's what people call him. I don't know if I buy that.
I'll leave it at his views on politics, his support for Black Lives Matter, how he feels about certain things. And then, with Whitlock being the guy with edge, my air quotations, the guy who will say what he want to say and he don't care about
race. With the history of Jason Whitlock, from the Kansas City Star to Fox Sports to ESPN,
and then to the alleged, the whole alleged thing about the assistant or whatever.
Thing.
Like he basically he gonna do what he want to do, how he want to do it. Is what I gather from
and
him.
Race seems to always be a topic of, or he, with his stories and some of the things he reports and some of the things he writes about in his columns, it seems like race sometimes, or most of the time, is something he's using to make his point across in his columns. So to me, I would like to see, particularly these two guys, but I would like to see these guys get in the booth, microphones on.
Oh, man.
Timbaland, Pharrell, whatever producer you want to get out there and just spit 16. Don't even spit 16. Just go off the rip. Just say what you got to say. Spit your bars. I would love to see that put on wax.
Yeah, but in all seriousness, this really could get to like where, how you kind of, like, it's like First Take on steroids. Because because the people generally don't like each other.
Sure.
So this could really, like, you heard it first from the Barbershop Sports Talk Podcast, and we probably don't see a dime off of it because this was our idea, and we should be editing this so nobody get this idea. It should be a show, because this happens all the time where journalists that don't like each other, because of whatever their beefs are, these two people should be able to debate with a moderator. Again, First Take on steroids. Because the thing is that Skip and Stephen A, they like each other. They just don't agree on a lot of shit.
Right. I think Maestro, we need to pitch an idea to HBO or Showtime.
Yeah, because they got to be able to curse.
Yeah, sure.
They got to be able to curse.
And put an idea out there that, hey, let's have two journalists or sports reporters that don't like each other.
And make sure they don't like each other.
Exactly.
And they got to talk shit on Twitter. They got to do Periscope and Instagram videos. It got to be beef. We got to know, people that are, this could be like a reality show or something like that. Absolutely. It's got to be in the scheme of people that are in that, news world or sports news world or whatever, that we know don't like each other for whatever reason. and they got to hash shit out on Twitter and be like, all right, fuck it. I see you on
whatever show.
Sports journalist attack. I don't know.
Right.
But whenever the shit happen, they got to get that shit popping. You heard it first on the Barbershop Sports Talk podcast that this show should get popping. We need a finder's fee.
Yeah, we need some lawyers. We need some people that can, kind of pitch this idea, and we need to trademark it too. We need to trademark this idea for real.
ASAP. We need to get on that ASAP.
For real. Hey, just, we got a couple minutes left here, but just wanted to go through kind of this top 25 in the college, AP college rankings here. Not going to give everybody a shout out, obviously, but just maybe a couple things that kind of stand out to me. Villanova's number one. They've been number one, I think. This is the 5th week now. We've had maybe 6 teams that have been ranked number one this season. So really, there's really no great team out there that's above everybody else here. Kansas number 2, Virginia number 3. Go on down the list. Xavier, Michigan State. Our Terps are there at number 10, even though they were ranked number 2 at the beginning of the season.
Right.
They're hanging right there.
Well, what teams that I don't think it's necessary to kind of go down all the way down to 25, but what teams, going in, March Madness is going to come up soon. What teams in that top 25 are you looking forward to seeing?
I'm looking forward to Michigan State because it don't matter who the players are, year in and year out.
Yeah.
Tom Izzo seems to always have his teams right there. I mean, they were there in the Final Four last year, so in this wide-open tournament, which is expected this year, they could be right back there again.
Right.
I'm interested in Maryland, and, obviously we have rooting interests because we both live in the state of Maryland, but I'm interested to see what they're going to do. The problem I have with the Terps is that they turn the ball over too much.
Yeah, and they've lost to some unranked teams some this year. And I'm interested because I'm a Terps fan, but that's it. I'll be honest with you, man. They've lost some games that really just left me scratching my head.
They lost to Minnesota the other day. It was very
They've
weird.
really lost some
very
games that just had me scratching my head because they're a good team, and they're a team that I would think playing at their top level would have wreck for anybody in the tournament.
Sure.
But it's just little fuck-ups like that just make me feel like,
little things like that.
Yeah.
And Melo Trimble, shout out to him, point guard for the Terps. He's got to be more of a scorer for this particular team this year. I get it, he's trying to be a distributor and all that, but you take Melo Trimble out this lineup, you really don't have a guy that can, A, run the show efficiently, and B, that can get you the scoring that you need, because other guys like Suleiman, Robert Carter Jr., those guys can have some off nights here and there. So those are the two things to me that, interest me mostly.
Yeah, like I said, Maryland, and then the other team, you can't count Duke out, man.
You can't. You know what's crazy about that? They were outside the top 25.
Outside the top 25, yeah.
And they just jumped all the way to 15. And I think it was because of that win in North Carolina.
North Carolina, exactly.
I think that's what catapulted them up. You're right. You can't count Duke out.
You can't count Duke out. North Carolina, I know a lot of people felt like they were going to be the team that kind of broke away and became the dominant team, and their loss, then Duke kind of shut that down.
Oh, absolutely.
So I mean, I don't think you count them out because of that Duke loss. That's a rivalry that's been, for years and for years. So I don't want to count them out. I mean, Kansas is Kansas. I mean, that's Bill Self. I mean, I say I'm trying to kind of point out teams that we're not really expecting. And the reason why I said Duke is because they have been underachieving pretty much all year.
Sure. Kentucky's been underachieving.
Right. And, but then you still, but the two teams that kind of interest me, obviously, is Maryland and then Duke, just because, like I said, they were unranked, and now here they are at number 15 now. So, yep. I mean, I'm interested to see how they'll show out.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. It's going to be exciting. I think the Selection Sunday is, another 3 weeks away?
3 weeks from now.
Yeah, ASAP. All right, well, people, that's it for the show. Don't forget, hit us up on the Facebook page. Reach out to us through Instagram at Barbershop Sports Talk Podcast.
Hit us up through Twitter at Barbershop SPOR2 and email us with any questions.
Shout out to the Capitals.
Oh yeah, what you want to say about the Capitals?
Hey, you already know, man.
What's the best start?
43-10, 4 ties, best NHL start ever.
Now, was that a Capitals record or is that a league record?
League.
That's a league record.
League.
Wow, that's
ASAP.
amazing.
ASAP.
So
now,
they going to the Cup?
Yes.
Come
you
on,
heard
Maestro,
it here.
Maestro,
Fuck what you heard.
Maestro,
Capitals
stop.
Going to win
Can they
all
get to the
shit.
Can they get to the Eastern Conference Finals first?
We get to the Eastern Conference Final. Now, what we do there, all right, but yeah, fuck that. We winning the whole thing this year. ASAP.
Okay,
Shout out to them Capitals, boy.
We'll
Ovechkin leading the league in power play goals and regular goals. Backstrom is number 5 in goals.
We gonna see.
The goalie putting in work. He had a saving percentage of 92.926.
I need that goalie to show up in the postseason.
Hey, we doing it this year. You heard what I said.
I need that goalie to show up.
You heard what I said, nigga. This year.
Yeah, we'll see about that. Hey, people, email us at barbershopsportstalk1@gmail.com for any questions or comments. So, I'm Trey Fraser. That's Maestro Styles. We out of here. We'll talk at you next week.
Bitch.